Gary Truitt was born in 1953 to working-class parents Ray and Louise Truitt. Although they lived on the south side of Chicago and not on a farm, his dad was involved in the dairy business as a milkman. Gary was born with congenital cataracts and several other eye diseases, leaving him totally blind. Several surgeries restored some eyesight, but not enough to have normal vision. He attended special education classes in grade school, and because he could not play sports, he spent a lot of time listening to them on the radio. Gary loved the non-stop action of hockey and the rapid-fire style of the play-by-play announcers. Like many teenagers in the 1960s, Gary became a fan of the top 40 jocks he heard on the radio, like Larry Lujack and John Landecker. He also listened to the great newsmen of that era like Lyle Dean and Paul Harvey. Radio had become a big part of his life, and he tried to emulate the delivery and style of those famous broadcasters. In high school, an English teacher asked Gary if he wanted to write for the school newspaper. He said he would give it a try. Did he ever? By his senior year, he was editor of the paper, and to accurately get quotes for his stories, he began using a cassette recorder for his interviews. Little did he know that he would spend the rest of his life putting a microphone in someone's face and asking them questions. Gary attended North Central College, a small school in Naperville, Illinois, where he became a writer for the campus newspaper, The Chronicle, and where he was introduced to the campus radio station, WONC-FM. He got his third-class license and arrived on campus ready to take on the world. He quickly learned, however, that freshmen got the classical music shows and the upperclassmen got the rock shows. Although he eventually fell in love with classical music, he was thrilled when he finally got a rock air shift. He spent the rest of his college radio career spinning records, and while that didn't help his GPA, it did help him meet his future wife, Kathleen. She was a news and sports anchor at the station, and Gary wisely would often walk her back to her dorm after work. They were married shortly after graduating from college. Only after Gary took a job in vocational rehabilitation did he land a part-time weekend job at WCSJ AM/FM in Morris, Illinois. Gary was soon offered a full-time position as program director and adjusted the station's programming to fit the needs of the local community. The largest industry in the area was agriculture, so Gary signed the station up first with RFD Illinois and later the Brownfield Network.
Good afternoon, I'm Gary Truitt reporting the latest news in agriculture. Farm credit is in vogue this week. Vice President George Bush is on his way to Iowa this afternoon to meet with area farmers to discuss farm credits.
In 1981, the station was sold, and Gary was offered a position with WITY in Danville, Illinois. But just 6 weeks later, Gary got a call from Derry Brownfield, offering him a job with the Brownfield Network. So Kathleen repacked the boxes, and they headed to the Ozarks. Gary was hired to be the program director and was told, "You develop our programming and we'll teach you farm broadcasting." Gary was soon hooked on farm broadcasting and loved the trust and bond with the listeners. That bond still motivates him today. Gary's first NAFB meeting was a summer meeting in Vail hosted by Evan Slack, and what a memorable meeting it was. He met Gerald Ford, enjoyed some delicious lamb, and met Harry Martin from the Rural Radio Network in Indiana. Little did Gary know that 10 years later, Harry would sell that network to him. In 1983, Gary got a call from the USDA that would have a profound impact on his career. He was offered a chance to travel to South America with Secretary of Agriculture John Block. That would be the first of several international trips over the years, as Gary learned to be a road reporter, broadcasting from national and international events. Another milestone event in Gary's career came in 1985, when he was offered the opportunity to start a network from scratch. That summer, he and Kathleen and their nearly one-year-old daughter Ann headed to the Hoosier State. The Agribusiness Network was founded, delivering programming to its 10 affiliates over phone lines. The network grew and in 1988 was sold and the name changed to the Agri-America Network. They switched to satellite distribution, expanded the staff, and purchased the Rural Radio Network. Agri-America grew to over 70 stations. Gary spent most of his summers reporting from county fairs and the Indiana State Fair, where the network produced a live stage show. By 1998, the Truitt family had added 2 sons, Jonathan and Nathaniel, and the network was acquired by Emmis Communications. Jeanette Merritt joined the team, and the studios were moved to downtown Indianapolis. After a few years, Emmis sold the network to Learfield, and Gary found himself back with the Brownfield Network. Gary had long held a goal of owning his own network. In 2006, with the help of Bill Farmacus and his organization, Hoosier Ag Today was born. Eager to have Gary back on their air, several former Agri-America stations joined the network, and within 2 years, they were a financial success. They expanded their staff with Andy Eubank joining their team. Over the next 10 years, HAT continued to grow, and they launched several new digital platforms as internet and social media platforms developed. Over the years, the Truitts have been big 4-H supporters. The network has sponsored awards at the county level and for many years funded a communications scholarship through the Indiana 4-H Foundation. Kathleen has been a 4-H volunteer for over 20 years. Looking to the future, in 2018, Gary hired Eric Pfeiffer to be the news director and partnered with Farm World newspaper to purchase the Indiana Farm Equipment and Technology Show. In 2019, they purchased the Michigan Ag Information Network and changed its name to Michigan Ag Today, hiring Ashley Davenport to head up its operation.
Gary has been a member of NAFB for nearly 40 years and has served the organization in numerous capacities, including 2 separate terms as East Region Vice President. His impressive list of honors includes twice being named Farm Broadcaster of the Year. Although he never imagined a career in farm broadcasting, it has had quite an impact on his life, and he in turn has had quite an impact on farm broadcasting. He has worked with and for some of the giants of our industry, and now takes his rightful place among them in the NAFB Hall of Fame.